The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation. I have come, it's all losing my control.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday night show, Into the Night, with me, your host, Sean Kelly. How is everybody doing tonight? Well, boy, do I got some stuff to tell you tonight before we get into the topic. And how's that sound? Hey, Kevin, good to see you. All right. I want to thank UPR and Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to give you two shows a week, Sunday night and Tuesday nights. My Sunday night show is 8:10 to 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Tuesday night show is 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. And I just want to thank Joe Montaldo and Michelle DeRoche for being the backbone of UPRN. And I want to thank all the other hosts with their other shows who do a magnificent job, who do a very, very good job on their shows. And that's what's really cool about UPRN, is that we have shows 7 days a week. Okay. Some days during the week, they start at 1 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon, all the way up until the last show of the evening. And they're all kind of different topics too. And to me, it's like very, very knowledgeable listening to the other shows. You might think, it's just a podcast and they're talking about ghosts or talking about this and they're talking about that. No, actually, it's a lot of knowledge for you to, comprehend and to understand the other side of things that people or the news or any other outlet do not tell you. And it's very, very informative. And they're just downright great shows. And also, don't forget Miss C.L. Thomas, The Gateway podcast comes on right after my show tonight, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. So please do me a favor, go over to her show right after mine. Tell her I said I sent you guys to give her some love. Kevin, at first commercial, would it be better if I pull 3 cards for you then? Because I am feeling like it distracts from when you pull your cards and that you're telling your read story thoughts. Sure, buddy. That'd be okay. It's all good. Sounds good. No worries. That's what you feel like doing. That'd be great. Oh, boy, is it hotter than hell. It really is hot. Um, we're just in, we were in a period of the 90s, and now we're back into the 80s and high 70s. But the only damn thing is that it's really freaking humid. And if you know us northern people, oh, you're welcome, Kevin. If you know about northern people, like Joe Montaldo knows, who is the owner of this UPRN, he laughs at me and Jay because, we're like, oh, you're complaining it's too hot, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's a damn right thing. Yeah, it is freaking hot. And it's freaking humid. Humid as all hell. We're not used to that, you know? We're not used to that. But, when it gets really cold down there in New Orleans, where around that area where he's from, then we laugh at him because it might be 20 degrees and they're freezing their butts off. Oh, you're welcome, Cap. And they're freezing their butts off, and me and Jay are laughing at them. So I guess it works out both ways. But tonight, how I got Jim Thorpe, right? The other day I was talking with, Michelle DeRoche, and we were talking about Pennsylvania, the different haunted areas. Like we talked a little bit about Gettysburg, and she brought up Jim Thorpe, PA. And I've heard of Jim Thorpe. Hey, Patsy, what's up? Patsy. Joni, good to see you. And I've heard of Jim Thorpe before, Jim Thorpe, PA. I remember Jim Thorpe, I do believe, in the Olympics, but I didn't know there was a town named after him. Hey, Gary, good to see you, buddy. And it was crazy. So, we were talking about it, and I was like, hey, Johnny. And I was like, let me look it up. Let me check it out. And so, of course, I used my trusty AI Google phone, and I Googled Jim Thorpe, and holy crap, man. There's a lot of paranormal activity that happens in Jim Thorpe. I mean, and it's so beautiful up there, from what I understand, because, of course, hey, Kendra, of course, I had to, check out the pictures online of Jim Thorpe, and gorgeous. Well, you have to admit, Pennsylvania is gorgeous as hell. My day's doing great, Kendra. I hope yours is doing good. But the eastern part in Carbon County is gorgeous. All of Pennsylvania is pretty, especially around the fall time. But the town of Jim Thorpe, it reminds you of being in a European country, okay, called Switzerland. Thank you very much, Kendra. I truly appreciate it. Truly appreciate it. Hey, Mish, good to see you. And so I found out that there's a lot of paranormal activity in Jim Thorpe, PA. So the more I read about it, and the more that I usually do with my AI phone here, uh, Heidi, good to see you. I'm glad you walked through the door. I'm going to read a little bit about the stuff that happened out there in Jim Thorpe, but I will tell you this: next year when I retire, okay, when I retire, I am going to take a trip out there. I'm going to spend about 2 or 3 days, and I'm going to go ghost hunting out there, or just or just go there and if I don't ghost hunt, I'm just gonna do the view or the scenery. No, 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 not going west. I'm going east, east, Heidi, next year. But I'll be going west though. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'll have all them years after my retirement. But so tonight's show is about Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and yes, Kev, it's very interesting. So what I'm going to do is go to my phone and I'm going to start reading, and we can talk about what I read. And as I'm reading this, if anybody out there knows of any haunted towns, that little haunted towns that they know of, feel free to put it into the chat room, okay? And then we can talk about it. I have no problem Googling it and talking about it. So, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, is a historic borough and the county seat of Carbon County, Carbon, Cripple Creek, Colorado. Okay. Along the Lehigh River. It's in the Pocono Mountains, which are gorgeous, downright freaking gorgeous. Often called the Switzerland of America. It sits roughly 29 miles northwest of Allentown, PA. I have no question about you, buddy. Not at all. And it's 117 miles west of New York City. And it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful out there. But you have to go out into the fall. But Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania is a mining town, okay? Because all over Pennsylvania, that's what Pennsylvania, West Virginia, were big for. It was coal mining. And there was a lot of crappy, nasty shit that happened in coal mines and in coal mine towers. Okay, I'm going to have to Cripple Creek, Colorado. I'll have to remember that. But let me go to my trusty thing. Okay. So, the bad history of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and it's kind of weird if you look at it. Okay. You too, Kendra. Have a great day yourself. The bad history of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania centers on its namesake. Well, check this out, everybody. This is crazy, man. Oh, tons of trapped energy in there, Heidi. Lots of trapped energy. But check out the history of Jim Thorpe, though. Um, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania centers on its namesake, the legendary Olympic athlete Jim Thorpe. Following his death, his third wife sold his remains to two struggling towns in exchange for renaming the area and building a monument to attract tourists. What a life, huh? Selling, selling, the corpse of Jim Thorpe and to a town just to get tourists in it. In a way, I can see how that became profitable back then because I do not know the name of Jim Thorpe, PA. I don't know what the original name was, but I can see back then where you go to a coal mining time, there ain't shit happening. Okay, all a bunch of coal miners and their wives and their families. So maybe if I read longer onto this, maybe we can find out, why. But that's what his third wife did, sold his body, his corpse, to this town. And they said, think the only reason behind it is to name the town after him. So whoever I marry, they can sell me to a little coal mining town and say, yeah, the town of Sean Kelly. Oh, that would be crazy. The town of Sean Kelly, full of paranormal activity. What do you think? It's got a catchy saying to it. It's got a catchy feel to it. But a tragic history of the town's namesake and the ensuing legal and moral disputes unfolded in three main stages. One, a tragic and exploited life. Jim Thorpe, a Native American of the Sac and Fox Nation, is considered one of the greatest athletes of the 20th century. Despite winning 2 gold medals in 1912 Olympics, he was stripped of his records due to a minor hypocritical violation of amateur rules. His later life was plagued by financial struggle, alcoholism, and personal tragedy. And he died nearly penniless in a California trailer park in 1953. Kevin got now he got a coal miner's daughter stuck in his head. Hey Donna, good to see you. There you go. Kevin, start singing it. Sing it for everybody. Patsy's even telling you to sing it. So, so he was a great athlete, and then they took his medals away from him because of some stupid hypocritical violation. You know, I thought it was like ridiculous what was happening here now, how they do this. And but I didn't know that they did that back in 1912. And of course he struggled. His later life was plagued by financial struggle, alcoholism, and personal tragedy. And he died in California trailer park in 1953. Nothing against people who live in trailer parks, but that's not a great way to pass away or a good place to be, though. All right, everybody. Okay, the controversial burial agreement. Now, here's what it gets a little crazy. What I'm saying. Thorpe's twin brother, mother, and father all died during his youth. When Jim died, he requested to be buried on native land in Oklahoma. So he requested to be buried in Oklahoma on a reservation. However, his third wife, Patsy, ignored these wishes. Ignorant bitch. Discovering that the dual, DUAL, coal mining boroughs, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Mauch Chunk and East Mauch Chunk, MAUCH, Chunk and East MAUCH Chunk in the Poconos, were desperate to revive their failing economies. She struck a deal. She surrendered her husband's body to the Pennsylvania municipalities. In return, the towns merged and renamed themselves Jim Thorpe. So there's what, three municipalities east, that names, and the other one plus Jim Thorpe. They all came together and they named it Jim Thorpe, PA. That's how we got it. Thorpe had never visited the region during his life, and the arrangement was made without the knowledge or consent of his children. Okay, we're good. Hey, Mish, I have asked Kevin so many times to come on his show, but he won't do it. He won't do it, but that's okay. That's his choice. I'm not forcing him. Johnny says, I wonder if Jim haunted Patsy. That's bad. That's bad. But that's funny. Bad. Okay. Whatever. And so his third wife, okay, decided to sell his body to, those three different counties. And, but not to tell his children, not to get their consent. I didn't tell him I'd pay him any money. He has to pay me to get on my show, honey. And I'm looking at $10,000 an hour. Okay, so tell the Blue Jays I said hello. All right, Heidi? Thank you. Thorpe had never visited the region during his life, and the arrangement was made without the knowledge or consent of his children. And the modern legal battle now. For decades, Thorpe's surviving children actively fought to have their father's remains returned to Oklahoma. In 2010, his sons filed a lawsuit against the borough of Jim Thorpe under the Native American Graves Protection and Reparation. After a prolonged emotional back and forth involving various federal courts, the borough ultimately retained the physical remains. Today, the town remains a popular tourist destination, housing a sports superstar who never set foot while he was alive. So his third wife wanted money, so she sold his corpse over there to eastern Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains and the little boroughs over there without the consent of his children. That's a bunch of horseshit. You know what I mean? She should have let him just, go to Oklahoma and be on his native site, But I guess back in that time, in 1953, that's when the shit started. It is tacky, Joni, very tacky. And so that's how Jim Thorpe, PA, got its name. By some inside dealings with his third wife. Sucks, man. It sucks. But it is that time. It's 8:33 p.m. at the bottom of the hour, and it's time for us to take a little quick break. And so go talk to the Blue Jays and go say hello to that bunny, Heidi, and have a cigarette while you're at it. And everybody else, go have a cigarette, drink, get a Coke, have a Coke and a smile, and all kinds of other good stuff. So I will see you back here in a couple minutes. It's hot. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Again, I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans, for allowing me to give you two shows a week, Sunday nights from 8:10 to 10:10 p.m. Eastern, and on Tuesday nights from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Tonight we're talking, before I go on, don't forget, right after my show at 9:15, the Gateway Podcast. Thank you, Heidi. The Gateway Podcast with CL Thomas, my best buddy. Um, Hers is coming on right after mine. So whenever mine is finished, please feel free go over there, watch her show, and give her some love because she needs a lot of love. You know. So just tell her I sent you, and I'm sure she'll have a smile on her face. But back to the show. So in the first half of the show, we're talking about Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, and the sad thing that happened in order to um, get Jim Thorpe, how Jim Thorpe, PA, was done. You know how it came to be, and um, and it was just over his third wife, who was a bitch, I believe. You know, that sold his body in his name to these three counties over there, these three boroughs, and that's how it became. Jim Thorpe, on the other hand, is very beautiful, very, very beautiful, and especially in October. And I will definitely go there next year, next October or September when the leaves change, and I'm going to go visit Jim Thorpe, PA. But there she is. Hey, CL, good to see you, buddy. Who's on your show tonight, buddy? You want to tell everybody in the chat? That'd be pretty cool. I'll read it off. Um, Jim Thorpe is in Pennsylvania is a town steeped in rich 19th century history and notorious paranormal activity. Its most famous hauntings are anchored by the Old Jail Museum and the famously active The Inn at Jim Thorpe, both drawing paranormal investigators from all over. The Old Jail Museum was built in 1871. This imposing stone fortress was once the holding site for the Molly Maguires. Okay, so its most famous ghost story centers around Alexander Campbell, a convicted member of the Irish labor group who was hanged on the gallows Old Jail Museum. Jim Thorpe, PA, before his death, he pressed his hand into the stone wall of cell 17, declaring that it would remain as proof of his innocence. To this day, the handprint continually reappears, despite being scrubbed, painted, and replastered over the decades. Jim Thorpe Jail, Pennsylvania. Now, okay, so who were the Molly Maguires? Alrighty, so we'll get there. Okay, whoop, hold on. Okay, the Molly Maguires originated in rural Ireland in the 1840s. I don't know what they did with him, Joni. I don't know. Uh, but I really looked into what his body's at, and I could not find anything about it. But the Molly Maguires originated in rural Ireland in the 1840s, fleeing the Great Potato Famine. The group's Irish immigrant members resettled in the 1850s and 1860s in the coal regions of eastern Pennsylvania, Primary and Schuylkill, Carbon, and Northumberland counties. In Ireland, the Molly Maguires began as a secret agrarian society protesting exploitative English landlords, taking their name from a widow who supposedly led riots against land evictions. When these Irish immigrants arrived in Pennsylvania, they found themselves facing similar severe hardships. forced to endure miserable and dangerous working conditions in the coal mines. They were subject to intense discriminative and poor treatment by mining executives. The group allegedly reformed in the Pennsylvania coalfields to fight for better wages, improved working conditions, and exact vengeance against abusive mine bosses. While debate still exists among historians as to whether they acted as a coordinated terrorist organization or a rudimentary labor union, their history remains deeply tied to the Pennsylvania Center for the Book Lore. Many of the events, trials, and executions connected to them unfolded in local areas still accessible today. That is like, and of course, the Irish. of course, it had to be the Irish, of course. And what they did was basically, if people had a hard time understanding me, what I said is that back in Ireland, the Molly Maguires, they were in the hardships and shit like that, and they would battle, they would fight the English over there. Hey, Joe Fox, good to see you, buddy. And so they came here to Pennsylvania, some of them, and and it's like they kick some ass here too. So, oh, hold on a second. I got to get my thing back together. So as you all are chatting away over there in the chat room, I'm going to still, let's see if I can find it. Okay. Okay, where's it at? All right, here it is. I think it is, yeah. Okay, yep, here it is. Okay, so that's what happened in the old jail over there in Jim Thorpe. Okay, is where a lot of the shit happened with the Molly Maguires. And Joe Fox says Jim Thorpe is about 1 hour away from me as the crow flies. Been there many a times before. Sweet, dude. Sweet. I'm going out there next year, next September or October. When I'm going to check it out. I'll stop in and we can take a ride out there, have some coffee. The inn at Jim Thorpe, dating back to 1833, the historic inn at Jim Thorpe is notorious for its paranormal activity. The most famous spirit is Madeline. Joe says, awesome town experience, including the jail. The most famous spirit is Madeline, a woman who tragically hanged herself in room 211. Now, this is at the end, at Jim Thorpe. In room 2, after a miscommunication caused her and her lover to miss their planned elopement. Guests frequently report that chairs in their rooms are turned upside down overnight. The smell of cigar smoke appears out of nowhere, and the TV turns on and off by itself. That's like really cool. And then you got the old jail museum here. It was built in 1871, is a chilling stone fortress that held members of the Molly Maguires, a group of Irish coal miners. 7 of the men were hanged there, and one defiant miner declared his innocence, stating his handprint would remain on the cell wall forever. To this day, the ghostly chemical-resistant handprint in cell 17 remains visible. Heidi, can you look up cell 17, please, if you can? See the number 17. What's that? What's that about? Numerical. Remains visible despite numerous attempts to scrub and paint over it. Visitors also report hearing phantom footsteps. disembodied whispers, and experience intense cold stops. Thank you, dear. Hey, Buck Brown, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I hope you. Oh, Joe, you've been in cell 17 a lot, 3 times. What feelings did you get there, Joe? Just put them in and I'll read it. What tell my people and the viewers about cell 17. That's cool. I can't wait till next year. Me and Joe are going to have coffee and experience paranormal investigation. That's cool as hell. Number 17. Okay, I asked Heidi if she can look up the number 17. And the number 17 symbolizes renewal, spiritual consciousness, and the manifestation of abundance. Thank you, dear. Joe Fox says the handprint is very real and visible. Thank you for doing that. Let me read that one more time. What Heidi wrote about the number 17. Let me get up here. Okay. Heidi says the number 17 in numerology symbolizes renewal, spiritual consciousness, and the manifestation of abundance. So we're all going to be rich after my show tonight. How's that sound, everybody? I don't know how to pronounce that word, mulch chunk. I've been trying. So I tell everybody, Mauch. Can you get more by adding land? 7? Curious. Huh. But, so the Harry Packer Mansion. Perched on a hill overlooking the town. The ornate Harry Packer Mansion. Indian word, okay. Uh-huh. Mish, you just, see, I'm blushing. Thank you. Thank you. 8's a good number in numerology, I do believe, Mish. Yes, 8 is a very good number. I think that's my numerology number too. Mish, that was sweet of you saying that. Thank you. But the mansion is perched on a hill overlooking the town. The ornate Harry Packer Mansion, now an inn and event space, is said to be haunted by the wealthy Packer family, who lovingly built it. Guests and staff have reported seeing spectral figures, hearing unexplained laughter, and feeling unseen presence wandering the opulent, echoing hallways. Oh, thank you, Joe. Joe Fox has shown you're going to fall in love with the place. Probably, buddy. Oh, probably. So those are like 2 or 3 of the main attractions that they have. I got an octopus, cheetah, and hyena, but chat was flooded. LL. That's okay. Thank you for the readings, buddy. Thank you for the cards. What's the name of the deck you read from, my friend? If you don't mind me asking. But and I'm sure there's a lot of other places over there, in Jim Thorpe, where it's haunted. No, I could never do that. You want £5 from me, buddy? I'll send you $10. Nah, no. See, people gotta realize I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we have our own accent, we have our own dialect, and we speak totally different from everybody else in the United States. We do. St. Mary's Church in the hollow of the White Hazel near Rapid Whirlpool. Huh. And the Church of St. Tilsa near the Red Cave is the translation to English. Thank you for that. Joe says the actual skeleton of Harry Packer Mansion is built out of the actual iron instead of two by fours, cast iron that is. Interesting, Joe. If I knew all this, I would have brought you on the show tonight, dude. You know, but and I'm sure back to Jim Thorpe. I'm sure there are other places out there that are extremely haunted that I guess I could not find any more, through AI and stuff like that. Looking it up, but from it being a gold mine, a coal mine town, and a third wife who needed money, selling the rights of Jim Thorpe, selling his body and the namesake to this, you know, um, town, to where you had the Molly Maguires from Ireland coming in and, sticking up for, Pennsylvania miners, you know. You'll be surprised at all. I mean, one day I might have to do a show on just Pennsylvania miners. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and just like the movie Stephen King, Tommy knockers. Okay, I've had people on my show that believe in Tommy knockers. I have a dear friend out in Montana that has two silver mines, and he sees them and hears them all the time. Okay, Joe, don't worry. I will definitely tell you, buddy. I'll definitely tell you. But when it comes to the mines, especially in Pennsylvania, even in West Virginia too, I don't want to leave out West Virginia because they had a lot of coal mines down. That's how we survived here in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, was the coal mines. And I have some places that I could tell you that I have investigated that there was a lot of tragedy, a lot of deaths. And the places I've been to are definitely very, very haunted. Well, you know what time it is. It is 5 minutes to 9, and you know what that means, everybody? It's time for a reading. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. I hope you have the opportunity to go to Jim Thorpe, PA, and check out the scenery, check out the paranormal, check out, or just walk through town. They do call it the Switzerland of the Switzerland of Pennsylvania, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. So after the show, if you ain't busy, just Google Jim Thorpe, PA, and look at the pictures and read up a lot more of it. So it is 8:55. Canary birds come to mind when you say coal mines. Yes, that's how they use yes, canary birds. They were really big for the old time miners because they would bring them down into the mines with them, and if they die, the miners are like dead, or they had a certain amount of time getting out of the mines before they, passed away. But I had a show. My very first show on UPRN by myself was that the Tommy Knockers. Um, and but so before I pull this cards, what I want to do is I'm going to look up the canary because Mish came out and she said when she thought of the canary. So I'm going to read that. See what's up with it. And oh no, canary medicine. Um, Joe Fox says, if, okay. Joe Fox says, one word of warning when you go, the parking is absolutely horrendous. bordering non-existence. You know, I was looking at those trees, right, the streets, bud, and it was like bad, bad. Um, I wouldn't want to park there. Well, Joe, while we got you on here real quick, well, how do you suggest if anybody decided to go to Jim Thorpe, how would they drive in? Would they have to take a bus? What do you recommend? Okay, you ready, buddy? Ready, Mish? Maybe put his reading in the message after the show, his fear. Okay. But okay, here's the deal with your canary, Mish. In the spiritual animal guides and oracle decks, the canary represents intuition, self expression, and making your personal story your strength. It symbolizes the ability to perceive subtle shifts in energy and environments, reminding you to find joy, use your voice, and speak your own truth. Um, known historically for sensing dangerous shifts in air quality, the canary represents the heightened ability to read the atmosphere in your life and surroundings. The bird's melodious songs encourage you to communicate your feelings, express creativity, and stand up for your beliefs. Joy in the inner truth. Canary medicine asks you to honor your personal journey and use your story as an anchor of strength, bringing happiness and freedom into your present. I hope that helped you out, Mish. I think it helped out a lot of people. I'm going to pull a couple cards here and let's go. All right. So I shuffled the cards and I'm cutting one, two, three. First card I pulled, we had this the other night, the raccoon. Again, somebody's having like a family issue here again. Somebody's attacking somebody's family, and the raccoon's coming out and kicking some ass, protecting their families. Um, and this time around, the raccoon is like really has the claws out for the killing. I mean, really going at it. Am I Catholic? I am spiritually. And the other one again I pulled was the buffalo. And if this comes out, yeah, I got to reshuffle these. New one. But I like the canary. I think we can go with the canary, what Mish came up with. Am I Catholic? No, I am not Catholic. It says that on my baptism. Um, but no, I don't consider myself Catholic at all. I consider myself, honestly, to spiritually. All right. Oh, that was a drink. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe I'm not supposed to read tonight. I think Mish gave us the bird, the canary bird, as our symbol tonight. Yeah, I know, Kevin. It's weird. Okay, if this happens again, I'm gonna have to talk to the animals about this. Okay, before we pull the card, Joe Fox says driving is okay, depends on the time of year, of course. There's a pretty big lot across the street by the train tracks. I've gotten lucky there most times. Just don't even attempt to go around any holiday. I have friends that go around. I have friends that around and went home, especially around Christmas and Halloween. But okay, we're good. The possum family protects. When I look at the possum, it eats all the bugs, the mites, all kinds of little insects that are being pulled and stuff like that. Um, and the possum but especially the mother possum, she carries the weight of the family on her back. She carries her babies. So this must be another family thing reading. The snake, which is, I like the way this is going right now. Okay, so you got the possum, the mother protecting the family, putting the babies on her back and moving, on in their lives. And then all of a sudden, okay, so you're the possum and you're carrying your family like you're supposed to be doing that. Now you got your snake, which is transmutation. And what I see is that you're growing now, and your little babies are off your back, and they gotten older. They gotten a lot older now, and so it's time for you to shed your skin as the mother figure, and it's time for you to move on and enjoy your life. Okay, so I like how this reading is going so far. And then the third card I'm pulling is the Black Panther, and I totally understand why this panther was pulled, because you finally shedded your skin. You're out doing your own thing, and all of a sudden, the Black Panther in you is coming out, and you're very wearily, and um, sneaks. You're sneaking around, hiding behind trees. You're checking out the area where you're going to be walking around by yourself with all your family members gone, with all your kids gone and stuff like that. So I can understand. But when I look at the Black Panther, I'm looking at it, it's like, do not be afraid. Trust your instincts, you know. And whoever this reading was for tonight, have faith in what you believe in. Have faith and trust in what you see, hear, and feel. Okay, it's all about what's in the gut. It's not up here in the brain. You get your brain involved, and all hell's going to break loose. You don't know which way to go. But inside, your heart, inside your stomach, and go with it, man. If it ain't good, it ain't good. Yeah, I'm telling you, what a panther. It is a power duo. Okay, hi Laura, good to see you. I'm glad you love snakes. It was in the reading tonight. But I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Joe Fox, thank you for giving us some updates on Jim Thorpe, PA. I appreciate it. And children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents and if you have no children, find someone, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And please, 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 please protect the children. And on that note, good night, everybody. Enjoy your week. And I will see you next Sunday. Have a good week. Good night.